Tasty, tasty. Tasty, tasty. Tasty, tasty. Tasty, tasty. Tasty, tasty.
Yeah, I don't read the chat live, so after 5 minutes. Okay, it's fine. We can start again. We can start again. It's fine. Hold on. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, guys. I hope you're doing well. We can hear you. Right, okay. Yeah, don't know why. Mic was turned off. Oh well, it is what it is. There I am. Yeah, let's go. Okay, so Reed got first.
Tasty,
so congratulations
tasty.
to Reed. Ozkillian's here as well. So is Kevy Babes. Moons of Empire Bazoku, Storesness Godzilla Waddle, Shummy, Ballboy12, Enamushki, Super Hands, Moons of Empire, Wolfine, Ballboy12, Cynic 12, lots of Blatro talk, blah blah blah. A few different subs. Blackbrook says you are muted for Silly Billy. Subscribe for 32 months. Thank you very much. Neodoid, thank you so much for 11 months of subs, 15 months of subs, sorry. Free Juice, thank you for 26 months of subs. And Shumi, thank you for 5 months of subs. There we go. Right, okay, that should be all caught back up. Alv, Bees Keys, Mr. Gimp, everyone else that's here as well. I didn't realise that I was muted. For some reason, it had changed my microphone setting to not the microphone that I'm using, which is just up here, but the one in this camera, which is the top-down camera.
Tasty,
This
tasty.
camera here, which it doesn't have a microphone plugged into it. So who knows? Who knows? Storesness, thank you so much for yours as well. Muted my man. Yeah, I wasn't muted. It was just the wrong thing. But yeah. What if Jay is just messing with you? Yeah. Well, we can call it that. It's fine. It's fine. Just imagine the story is being told. Yeah. Didn't realize he had so much emotion in speaking. Pre-recorded stream. All right, I'm going to skip past everything there. Lortiz Arc, thank you so much for the raid as well. Welcome to the stream, guys. I did mute myself for a few minutes at the beginning. Lip reading segment. Yeah, if anyone can lip read, then let's see how that goes. But it was basically it. No hat. Yeah, well, I don't always wear a hat. I usually only wear a hat when I come to the workshop because, like, everything gets, like, international shipments get a grease dirt on them that's just horrible, and I wear a hat just so I don't have to wash my hair every day. That's the reason. So on a weekend, I don't always wear a hat. Most of the time when I go outside, I don't wear a hat, just when I come to work. So, yeah. Did anyone manage to replay the 8% discount J without? Nice, yeah. Sometimes my amp DAC, which also has a mic in, disconnects and reconnects, and some software decides that it must be the device I want to use. Audio is tricky. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one because the PC hasn't been turned off since the last time I streamed. So nothing's changed and nothing's been plugged in or unplugged. It's just been asleep and awake and asleep and awake. So I don't know why it's changed it. And I usually check all of that before the stream, and I didn't check the microphone for some reason, but I checked all the cameras. Who knows? I may have misclicked something. I may have bumped something. I can only blame it on myself. 80% discounts. If I gave people 80% discounts, I would be in the same situation as Lube Switches is right now. I think it was accountant says no. Absolutely. Absolutely. Did Jay get a haircut? No, I had my beard trimmed. Hair's not been cut. It's still really long and, well, thinning on the sides and going grey on the sides, but plenty of hair on the top, so we're all good there. Faking receipts. Someone called Fire Brigade. Sorry, did that come across really negatively? But you'd have some shelf space. Yeah, so where to start on PT News? Okay, let's start with lubed switches. Where's best to start with lube switches? So there's two things that we're doing with
Tasty,
Chris.
tasty.
I'm just going to call him Chris because saying lubed switches, every time I say the word lubed, the stream will be muted on Twitch and YouTube tomorrow. So I'm just going to call him Chris. Chris owns the company. And where have we got to? So all of last week, I was trying to get Chris to communicate with GMK. The rep at GMK that I use is Mario. And that struggled somewhat. Chris provided a receipt showing that he'd paid GMK, at least partially. That never cleared, and GMK still to this day do not have the money for Nerve. Why do I say partially? So the way that GMK works is when you sign up to a project with GMK and you get the lead vendor will get the quotes and everything else, and then all of the vendors will do the group buy. When GMK invoices the vendors, they do it in a 2-phase basis. Phase 1 is due within 14 days, no questions asked, and it's a percentage of the overall order. I'm not going to break it down because that's GMK's secret sauce and it wouldn't be fair of me to break it down, but you pay a percentage upfront after 14 days or within 14 days, and that's a small number comparative to the rest of the balance. And then you have the balance that's due. Now, depending on the vendor and depending on the project and depending on how long you've worked with GMK, there seems to be a slight difference, or maybe even when the project happened, GMK's had different rules. For Chris's second invoice, he paid the first one, as far as I'm aware. He's told me he paid the first one, and I've never discussed that first invoice with GMK. So as far as I know, that one is paid all successfully, which is for a small percentage of the overall balance. The second invoice, which I have seen, was due 45 days after that first invoice was due. So it was due, I can't remember the exact date, but I'm pretty sure it was like September time last year. That has not been paid. And he showed a receipt showing that he had paid it for the correct number, but in the wrong currency. So GMK are based in Europe. They use the euro as their currency, and the number that he's transmitted was in US dollars. Now, US dollars to euros is quite similar, but it was about 5% off in the end, and it was the shortfall. So it was about 5% less than it should have been. As of Friday, that money had not been received by GMK, and I'm pretty confident it won't be received by Monday. The current status is that Chris has been messaging me directly for the past couple of days over the weekend. Now, I've not been able to reply every day because it's the weekend and I don't work, so I message him on Friday, and I messaged him a little bit today because I was at work, just here. And I think that there's two options. Either one, Chris pays GMK, he gets the sets, and then if he has the capital to fulfill those items, he will fulfill them. If he doesn't, he will have them and they will be sat there, and who knows. The second option is that we come up with a different method of getting the sets out there, which would most likely be Chris provides a refund to everyone involved in the Nerve group buy through him, or chargebacks, because I imagine quite a lot of people have charged back, and I arrange with GMK that we take on the sets, sell the sets to the affected customers first, and then whatever's left over is distributed between PT and the other vendors involved, because some of the other vendors have said they'd take on some of Chris's additional stock if needed. So Louis reached out straight away, and so did Neo Macro and Keebs and Cables and Delta Key Company. They've all reached out and said, if there are any extras left over after we fix whatever happens, then we'll take some on for you. So it means that not all of the liability then becomes on my shoulders, which is great. So we will see how that pans out. I think my preference right now, because the box has the prototypist logo on it, my preference would be based on that we just handle the fulfillment and give customers a chance to rebuy their sets through us. The decision is not mine to make. That's entirely up to GMK and Chris, and I'm just trying to facilitate that conversation. I've given GMK multiple options, and they will make a decision on how they want to proceed forward. So I think that's where that's at, which is shaky ground and not great. So if you have any questions on that, ask in chat, and we'll go from there. Did I miss your sub? Sorry, I did miss sub. I've missed a couple of subs, yeah. Thank you so much to Captain Reed for 12 months of subs. He says, oh god, has it been 12 months since I really became invested in this hobby? Yep, Neo 17 Avocado purchased in December 23. Oh, to be me back then, and I've only spent triple figures in this hobby. Well, that is what it is. That is what it is. Storesness as well. 45 months in a row, still winning the race. And OGM subscribed for 9 months as well. So thank you very much. Caught up on those. Yeah. So that's the update from Chris over at LS in the US. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to unfold, but the option is there, and I'm willing to do more legwork at my own cost and my own time to try and help the affected customers. But the amount of capacity that I can throw at that has limits. So, you know, I mean, we're a business at the end of the day. If we're not making money on something and we're doing something at a loss, that's bad for us, because whilst it's great for the customers, it means that we're at risk then from having impacts on ourselves, because I have to pay for staff time, warehousing time, you know, electricity, internet connection, everything else that's here at the PT workshop, just to then handle a failure of a project that's not my failure, it's someone else's failure. So that will have an indirect cost to me no matter which way we cut it. We'll see how that comes out. Did anyone else see Chris asking for a refund from LumenKey on their Discord? Yeah, so what I understand about the LX60 is that all customers with an affected LX60 through Chris, they won't be shipped to him. He never placed the order for all of the other vendors for whatever reason, and he's blamed LumenKey blamed him. I don't care, to be honest, on that one. Like, that's not my main priority. Nerve is my main priority. It now means that instead of us not getting our LX60s, we are getting the Lumen keyboards from LumenKey. They invoiced me last week. They got paid last week. Within a couple of days of sending the invoice and us checking everything over and everything, that got paid. And they're going to try and send us our boards before Chinese Spring Festival. I don't think it's going to happen before then. I think we'll end up getting them after that. So there's going to be a delay, but we'll see what that happens with that. Why lie about putting a payment through? What does it buy? Time. It buys time. I think that what happened here, Geeky Ed, is that Chris ran out of capital. And I point blank asked him this, and he said this isn't truth, but, you know, so I can only go on that. My feeling is that he ran out of capital. He didn't have any money to spend. And then all of a sudden the chargeback started to come in and the refund request started to come in, so he couldn't pay even more bills. And then since then he's done some sort of funding, whether that's a personal loan or a business loan, or he's had some funds tied up in something else that he's managed to sell on, maybe stock or whatever else. And I do feel for Chris on a business level. Nobody wants their business to fail, and the fact that Chris has got himself into his position, it's his own fault. He's driven it himself, but I do feel bad for him because nobody wants to be in that position. No one starts a company and expects it to fail. No one starts a company and hopes it's going to fail, and nobody wants to be in a position where customers are lambasting you every 5 seconds with, you know, truths and non-truths and everything in between. So yeah. More stuff about Chris. Today's a positive vibes day only. Yeah. That's solid latte art heart. Thank you, Kimchi. I try and do latte art. It's kind of morphed a bit as I've drunk, but yeah. As someone who owns a coffee company, I should be reasonably good at doing latte art. Troy Jam, hey good sir, thank you for being here. I would buy a cooking ingredient called GMK secret sauce. Maybe. I'll recommend Mario has a look at that. It's better than splooshy switches, I suppose. Yeah. Is it bad that I'm not surprised that an American sent something in the wrong currency? As someone who has sent a lot of invoices to Americans, one thing I've noticed is they love paying you in their currency, even when the pound is a completely different currency. It's one of the weirdest things in the world. But yeah, I've invoiced companies in the US for, you know, like 10,000 British pounds, and they sent me $10,000, and I'm like, dude, this is short. Like, this is massively short. It's like 20% short. And they're like, no, I sent you the right amount. I'm like, no, we don't use the US dollar over here. Like, but you can accept the US dollar. I'm like, no, it gets converted into pounds. That's how it works. We work on pounds. Your invoice is in pounds. You need to, you know, send it in sterling or GBP or whatever you want to call it. So yeah. God, I would love to get my set of nerve. So I want everyone to get their set of nerve. If you've ordered through Chris, I don't want to say the word because it just mutes the stream every time I do. But if you've ordered through Chris, I want you to get your set. That's the truth. I don't know if Chris will be able to fulfill if he gets a set, and he's messaged me today saying he doesn't need all of the sets he originally ordered, which means I don't even know what that means. Does that mean he's trying to pay a smaller bill from GMK? I don't know. Either way, I'm kind of not happy about it, and I'd rather just take over if I can, but that decision is with GMK. So Yeah. My second question is, why can't he send out orders that he has been paid for? WF Brown. So I don't know how Chris's operation runs. I'm just, I know what hasn't happened and what should have happened. But if he's got no money, how is he going to ship orders? Like, to ship an order out to a customer, he has to pay the courier service to be able to take that shipment and deliver it to you. He has to pay for boxes. He has to pay for people to pack it. He has to pay for packing supplies and everything else. If he has no money, how does one pay for that? You need to have money to be able to pay for it. So, yeah. GMK must love all of these businesses failing. I mean, anytime you invoice a company, there is a chance you don't get paid. It doesn't matter what company it is, it doesn't matter what industry it's in. Every time you invoice a company, there's a chance it doesn't get paid. Every time you manufacture something for a company, there's a chance that they pay to start the manufacturing and don't pay to finish it. That happens all the time. That's part of the risk of manufacturing. And that's partly built into the cost of products. That's why some products are so expensive. What about the Nerve Artisans? As far as I'm aware, the Aglatson Artisans have been shipped to all vendors. We haven't received ours yet, but they should be hitting. They're in our next container coming over from China at the moment. As far as I'm aware, Chris has not paid for those either, but I haven't heard anything for a few days. So yeah. What a nightmare from all perspectives. I was affected by my keyboard and feel so bad for everyone right now. I feel you guys. Yeah, I was affected by my keyboard as well. And Mex & Co. and Captus keycaps and, all of the Rama Works and all of the other ones in between. So I feel for everyone. Zizora, thank you so much for a year of subs, dude. I thoroughly appreciate that, man. I thoroughly appreciate it. Jay with the fresh cut. No, I just not got a hat on. My hat is here. I just don't have it on. That's all it is. Nice McLaren hoodie. Thanks, man. Thanks. SPC helped me choose which one to buy a while back. Can we take a moment to appreciate the sharp-ass haircut beard Jay has going on today? Looking fly for a Sunday stream in the purple hoodie. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I try and keep my beard relatively neat, but over Christmas, New Year, I just did not get a chance to go to the barbers.
Tasty, tasty.
Snicket, good evening, good sir. Thank you for being here. Complaining about chargebacks is wild, though. So, if you put yourself in Chris's shoes, and you have got a small amount of capital left, and what happens when you sell through Shopify is Shopify holds a balance certainly for us, Shopify holds a balance for 30 days of all of the orders for that last 30 days, and then they pay you out at the end of the month. And it's not quite as simple as that. It's a little bit more complex. It's actually the month previous. So all of our takings in December are paid at the end of January. All of our takings in January are paid at the end of February, and so on. So you're like a month delayed. So what I suspect is maybe he had some capital built up from in-stock sales that he was waiting to be paid out, and it could be different. Shopify might work differently in different countries. I don't know. I've not looked into it. But when you start to get chargebacks through, Shopify will just hold that money and refuse to pay it out if you hit a certain chargeback threshold. If you have a ton of chargebacks, you will not be able to get business loans. You won't be able to get any financing. Shopify may even close your store down, as well as retaining all funds. So what they will actually do is they'll actually retain the funds for up to 90 days. And if you are struggling with cash flow, and cash flow is your issue, and you hit that chargeback limit or whatever it is that turns on, Shopify won't pay you any money out. How do you even keep in business? You can't keep in business if you don't have cash flow. So I can see why he's said, if you don't stop charging back, we will go under and no one will get anything other than the people who have charged back. That will happen. He is right about that. Whether people like it or not, that is the reality of the situation. The more people who charge back in the situation, the more likely his company is going to go under. And he is trying to stem the flow of that. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong to do. If he's in a position where he's not going to be able to function as a company, people have an absolute right to charge back if he doesn't refund them within a reasonable amount of time. I absolutely agree with people doing chargebacks in certain situations, but I can understand why he said, if you keep charging back, I won't be able to ship anything, even the stuff that's on the shelf, because he will have no cash flow at all coming in, and that's difficult. What about desk mats and artisans? Artisans we've talked about. Desk mats he has not paid my invoice for. I paid for production of all of the desk mats. They are in my workshop here. Some vendors around the world have already paid me. Most have agreed to pay me in a couple of working days time or whatever else. We've kind of talked through it and everything's fine there. The only one who hasn't paid me yet or come up with a true plan is Chris. Chris said he would pay me sometime next week, so from tomorrow onwards he would pay me at some point for that. But if he can't afford to buy the sets from GMK and he can't afford to fulfill them, I feel like it's not in his best interests to buy the desk mats off me, and it might be better for the community if we just sold them. I don't know. It depends on what happens. It depends on what happens. It's not you, Chris Bezic. It's a different Chris. It's a different Chris. Can confirm the latte art is on point when I visited. Yes, we always try. America is the only country in the world, Jay. Don't forget that. Yeah. USA defaultism. Yeah, okay. Twitch does not mute the stream of VOD for profanity. Yeah, quite a few people have mentioned before that if I mention lube or lubricant, the stream goes blank. I don't know if it's on YouTube or Twitch, but it does on at least one of the platforms. Just want Nerve so bad. I can confirm Nerve is amazing. Here it is on a keyboard that we put on a keyboard 3 months ago. The spacebar's from something else because it's a 6U, but yeah, Nerve is fantastic. I didn't mean to drop my keyboard. I really didn't, but it's okay. I reckon he's had a ton of chargebacks too. He's reckoned 12 grand, which is a lot of chargebacks. So I think he's going to hit that Shopify limit if he hasn't already. List is getting too long. Yeah, it is. It is. Random Keeps, thank you so much for the sub. I can't remember if I said that, but thank you. It's rough. Yeah, Latam Keys, hey man, good to see you, dude. Yeah, it is rough out there. It is rough. The whole situation is rough, and it's taken up maybe 50 hours of my time in the past couple of weeks, time that I didn't have and time that I wanted to spend on other things, and it's been frustrating to get to where we're at. So yeah. Same thing happened with Chris with payments for the Violetta group buy, and that was back in June, July 23. He insisted he had paid, and the designer manufacturer said he hadn't. He then blamed the banks, and the payment issue wasn't sorted for another month or so. If I recall correctly, even when payment did go through, it wasn't for the full amount straight away. So, yeah, I can't comment on that. I mean, there's been times when someone's reached out to us and said, oh, Jay, you haven't paid this. And it's just been a case of, well, so the way we work here at PT is Sharon manages all of our invoices, and we then have a spreadsheet that we track, and then our accountant pays them out on a set basis, usually twice a month, every other Friday. We'll pay invoices out. Sometimes, one might get missed, and someone will reach out to me and say, oh, hey Jay, that one's not being paid yet, can you just double check it? And I'll go, oh yeah, either our record show it's paid, here's the receipt, here's the proof of payment, here's when it left our account, maybe have a check with your bank, or it'll be a case of, oh yeah, we did miss that one, here's payment. When you're getting thousands of invoices a month, that can happen with the odd one, but it should never happen and be an issue for more than like a couple of days or a week or whatever. So yeah. In the UK, we are fortunate to have consumer protection when paying with a credit card for purchases between £100 and £30,000. Even up to 2 years later, we have the option of a chargeback under Section 75. Yeah, that can hurt vendors as well. So I'll talk about that in a second. Just want to say big shout out to Alex Otos. Thank you so much for the raid. Good sir. I hope you're doing well, and I hope everyone's enjoying the stream so far. So we had like issues with people doing chargebacks 2 years later for products they've had, never raised an issue with, and then they'll do a chargeback because they want the product for free. We also have a big issue with chargebacks on gift cards. We've had to cancel doing gift cards. We haven't cancelled existing ones. We've had to stop doing gift cards because what would happen is someone would buy a gift card. They would assign that gift card to a third party, like a gift, as you would expect for a gift card. That third party would make a purchase, and then all of a sudden we would then get a chargeback for the original gift card. So it would be without the product, without the cash, and without the gift card. So we'd lose on all three sides, and we'd have to pay a fine for the chargeback as well, which here in the UK is £12. So plus VAT. They charge you VAT on top of that. So I think chargeback protections are great for consumers, but they are a minefield for businesses to manage. And if you don't manage them well, it gets difficult. Sounds somewhat like the retail equivalent of a run on a bank. Yeah, a run on a bank is almost the same when everyone tries to draw out the cash and the bank doesn't have the cash available to give everybody, because most cash in the world is not physical paper. It's all, depending on the country you're from, it's not actual paper money. It's all zeros and ones in an account somewhere. So yeah, it is the equivalent of that. So it is what it is. Sad times for America these days. Clever Cubes, yeah. I mean, it's just frustrating, man. It's just frustrating. Wish I bought a Nerve desk mat. We have them in stock. Title. We do have the Nerve desk mats in stock. They're on the website right now in stock. Last week's Sunday VOD includes the word lube. I downloaded it to test some speech to text, and the words come up multiple times in the transcription. Interesting. Maybe it's just on YouTube that it blanks it out, or maybe they've stopped. Maybe they've turned that off because it was flagged with them. I don't know. Nerve is cool, but we've seen the JOG. Goddamn by now. Thank you, Dynamics, for the shill of our really cool PBT OG dice subs. Yeah. Oh look! Oh, this I've now caught up with chat to the point where all of the raiders are coming in from Alex Sotos. Thank you guys. Your accountant makes the transfers, not you, your employees. Well, the accountant handles like most of our financial stuff. I mean, we can always go in and make a manual payment if we need to, but a lot of things are handled by the accountants. Yeah, it just makes things easier for us because like 90%, like if I did all of that kind of stuff as well, I'd spend 90% of my days just doing spreadsheets and paperwork, and managing a business that has the revenue we have is just a lot of paperwork, and I pay the accountant quite a lot of money to handle all of that. It's more, the accountant gets paid more per year than I get paid out of our company. That's how much accounting costs in the UK. It's expensive. And then once they know what they've done, it helps them when it comes to like doing all of the accountancy stuff for VAT and for taxes and for annual returns and all of that kind of good stuff. They know what's happened because they've been part of it. So yeah. McLaren jacket goes sicko mode. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, big McLaren fan here in the UK. Is it possible to ask GMK to invoice the full amount on the first invoice to avoid exchange rate fluctuations? So exchange rate fluctuations are an interesting one. You can pay the invoice in full when GMK sends the first one through. So what the invoice actually looks like is it's like a first call and a second call, and it actually details the full amount on there, but it says this amount is due within X number of days and this amount is due within Y number of days. And sometimes we've paid the whole amount on the front. What we actually do here at PT is we hold some of our funds in US dollars and euros at any given time, so that we have, when the exchange rates are in our favor, we buy the currency, and then we hold the currency, because then the currency doesn't lose its value, but we bought it when it was cheaper to buy it, if that makes sense. And then we'll hold that balance and transfer in and out of it. Now, we do get caught out sometimes, like when the budget happened in the UK 2 years ago, and the exchange rate from GBP to US dollars went from 1.2 to pretty much 1, which meant we lost 20%. Everything all of a sudden became 20% more expensive for us to buy, and on a lot of products we only had a 5% margin, so all of a sudden we were losing 15% across the board on a lot of projects. This happened on the Matrix 3.3 TKL and a few other projects around that time, and it was some serious losses, but it's one of those things, you know, you have to live and learn. Stoked for Eden. Yeah, Alex Sotos building an Eden state. It's on my list of things to watch tomorrow and catch up. Do you foresee yourself ever refusing to vendor some products if there are smaller regional vendors tied to it, since they're more likely to fail? We've declined a lot of products to vendor over the years, not because of just that, but because of other things, like we didn't believe in the product, or it wasn't quite for us, or it was a market that we didn't feel we could tap into, or it's a product that I just didn't have faith in. So it's different. I think the smaller regional vendor thing is probably not a huge issue. The really small regional vendors we've worked with, like Base Keys in Japan, Neo Macro, we've largely been okay with. Neo Macro in India, for example, they've just paid an invoice, I sent them last week, no problems at all. They couldn't pay through the usual methods. They reached out, they said, I can't pay you this way, can I pay you another way? We managed to find a solution. They paid, within a week, and there was some back and forth to arrange that. So that's not been an issue. Base Keys, I think, struggle sometimes with international payments. So we're still waiting for payment for GMK Higginbana from Base Keys, but that, like, they've got a payment plan in place with us now, so hopefully that will be resolved. And the same for Nerve too. So yeah. PT has a massive Revolut account, in other words. We don't have any massive accounts, I'm afraid. Gotta go, but I'd like to watch a VOD, so I vote Build Snake. Thanks, Tidal. We'll have a vote in a little bit. Thank you. I'll vote on your behalf. Yeah. Wait. what's been deleted by Reed? I don't want to know. I don't want to know what's been deleted by Reed. But yeah, so that's kind of the lube stuff in a nutshell. Lube switches. I'm trying to fix GMK Nerve. GMK is aware of what I've offered. Chris is aware of what I would recommend. It's now Chris's choice as to how he wants to handle it, because I can't make the decision for him, and it's up to GMK whether they accept that or prefer a different option. We'll see how that goes. If you bought Lava through the Lava keyboard from designed by Bion through Lubed Switches, you can either get a refund from Chris or charge back if you would prefer. And there is Manu has now created a form where you can submit to buy it through us instead, and it's got all of the costs there, because obviously you have to pay in GBP with us, but it's got the kind of the conversion costs on the form, so you can see roughly what the price is going to be, and make your own decisions from there if you still want the board. And I think we're going to handle the extras on like a consignment basis as well, but I'm not 100% certain how that's going to be. So yeah, we'll see that. I like it for buying items in US dollars or GBP and not get hit with fees from my main bank account. Yeah, Revolut is okay from that perspective. Superhand says, run like the plague. Yeah, so Revolut has a really interesting technical structure in the back end. I'm not sure I would want to bank with them. So, yeah. They scraped a restricted banking license after years of trying, and they're generally flaky to do bank with when things go south. Yeah, I've not had anything go south. I don't have an account with Revolut, neither business nor personal, so I have no skin in the game there. But yeah, they, I wouldn't choose to go to them, I don't think. So yeah. So that's the news from Lube Switches. The news from PT. We had a massive stock drop on Friday, so we put loads of stuff in stock. We put the Matrix keyboards in stock. They were the Matrix Mr. Taxi ones, so it was the kind of like black cab for London, and the yellow NYC taxi versions. We restocked on Stabies. We've got the 2.2 version in stock now. These are the version 2.2, the brand new ones. So they're in stock. We put a load of key sets in stock, like Key Kobo Instant, PBS Black on Black, Milky Way Asuka, Cam Playground, MW Pavilion, all sorts of other stuff as well. Loads of desk mats too. So if you're interested in anything that's recently gone in stock, there's a massive list on the website. One of the things that hasn't done as well as I thought it would do is the Nesson 810E. They are stunning. They have the kind of like separated spacebar and numpad on the side. Great keyboard. So yeah, they're in stock and ready to ship if you're interested in one of those. In terms of other stuff that's happening with PT right now, our latest shipment arrived last week. We've got through, I think, 11 of the group buys that were on there. There's a few more still to go, and we should be tackling those from Monday and Tuesday. Hopefully they'll all be done by Wednesday and we're back fully up to speed. In-stock orders are shipped same working day or next working day, so we're fully up to speed on those as well. And anyone who ordered over the weekend, your order will ship tomorrow. So yeah, so just bear that in mind as well. So yes, there we go. How are the Mars Cadet novelties doing? They sold out pretty much straight away. So we restocked Mars Cadet on Thursday, GMK Mars Cadet, and it's been kind of like a surprise, surprising how well that set's done. The first time we put it in stock, it sold out within about 2 days. The second time we put it in stock, everything sold out apart from a small number of base kits, and they're like in single figures now. So yeah. Let's just catch up with chat really quickly. How's GMK Hippo Group Buy doing? I have my eye on it for payday, being a long January. Please do buy Hippo. Yes, GMK Hippo is doing really well. I did promise to buy out the UK ISO kit to MOQ. As it stands right now, I'm going to have something like 100 and plus UK ISO kits with no base kits to go with them. So, yeah. Please consider buying GMK Hippo and rescuing me from my supporting the UK ISO community, because I don't think we're ever going to sell them all, and I think I'm going to have to write that kit at least up as a loss. So we'll see. I was intending to get the Neo 65. Do you think I should wait for the Neo 65 CU instead? The Neo 65 is a solid board for the price. You are not going to be disappointed if you order that. If you wait for the Neo 65, you're waiting a bit longer rather than getting your order locked in now, but you might get a board that's different in styling and slightly different in terms of acoustics, build quality and sound. I haven't tried the Neo 65 CU yet, so I don't want to offer advice on should you buy it or not. I think that'd be a little bit unfair until I have it. I see all the Mr. Taxis are gone. Yeah, we sold out of the Mr. Taxi. We had quite a few extras, and they've all sold out. We have had some orders that look a bit dodgy and a bit fraudulent, so there might be a couple go back in stock as well. Regarding Compact Ergo, I found out today that the plates were initially accidentally produced in ANSI only, but Bowl ordered new corrected universal ones. Do you know if the new plates will be in the same container shipment as the board? I don't know. If you remind me tomorrow, I will try and get an update on that. So Sharon is our project manager. She handles kind of communication with designers whilst things go into production. She handles all of that communication until we get them here. That's her job as project manager. So I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head.
Incredible.
I will, if you remind me tomorrow, I'll get Sharon to update the notion on that. So yeah, or if Bowl's watching, he sometimes is. Bowl, feel free to drop a note. I kept the Mr. Taxi black in the end, Jay. Yeah, so I hope everything was alright with that. Mel was a little bit frustrated with you on Friday. So for the I hope Trojan doesn't mind me messaging this. He ordered one of the Mr. Taxis, as he said, and he reached out to us a couple of days later and said, "Can I change it to a different colorway?" And we packed and shipped the wrong one. We packed the original order, not the updated order. But now it turns out that he's wanted to keep the original order. And Mel came running up and down to my office like 3 times yesterday because I was told, I was like, "No, you need to switch the order. It needs to be the other one that's sat over there, and get a returns label over to Trojam, and we'll get it back." And then she came up and she's like, "No, he wants to keep the original one." And it's like, what's going on? So yeah, it was quite fun. It was all hands on deck for that one. Will Protozoa projects like the PAL get updates on your Notion page from now on? Okay, so the news on Protozoa is that we are basically going to handle fulfillment for all the existing Protozoa projects. So for PAL, Event Horizon, Cambuke, and a couple of other group buys, prototypists will now be handling their fulfillment. If you ordered through Protozoa for a group buy, they will provide updates, and we are just effectively a fulfillment team. I'm not going to be aware of production timelines. I'm not in the group chats where people are arranging this. All will happen is Ector will say, "This product is going to be at your forwarder in China on this date. Please make sure it's in your next shipment." And we will handle that, and then he'll give us like a packing list and a list of orders to pack and ship to, and then we'll handle that side of it. Will just be fulfillment. All of their in-stock products have been shipped to us. So for the UK aspect, Protozoa US is completely separate and will still function. So Sailor, who runs Protozoa US, will still be shipping out orders from their store. But what's going to happen is all of the UK stock will be removed from Protozoa's website. I think that's already happened. All of the stock is currently en route to us. It should arrive this week. We got a ton of desk mats about 2 weeks ago, and we've processed that up. I have a list here that's all handwritten of stuff that needs to go in stock, so I will be working through that this week. When the rest of the stock comes, and after we finish shipping all the group buys that are here ready to go, so the Zoom 65 V3s and the Crush 65s are going out tomorrow, and I think the Loki 65 parts are all here now. So we're going to handle all of those, and then once we've done that, we're going to handle all of Protozoa's stock. That's going to be listed on the website, and it's going to be really, really clear cut. If you need support, and it just comes down to where you bought it from. If you need support and you bought it from Protozoa, or you need an update, you go to Protozoa. If you bought it from Prototypist and you need an update or to change something or some support, you come to us. Nice and simple. We're just going to split it like that. Whoever you paid, that's who you go to for support. Very simple, very easy. And then Ecto and I will just communicate any changes that need to be made. So yeah, that's the plan there. How's the stock levels on Evil Dolch ISO kit? So for those unaware, on my last stream, I was talking about how I'd bought out the Evil Dolch UK ISO kit, and I had hundreds of things left around. I set chat a challenge that I would give away one of my unbuilt TGR keyboards out of my personal collection if all of those UK ISO kits sold out off our website. The available stock went down from the mid-80s to the low 50s during that stream because someone put their money where their mouth was, which is fantastic. It's still in the high 40s, I think, in terms of how many kits we have left available for that. So if the deal is still there, if someone buys out all of the UK ISO kits by the end of this month for Evil Dolch, I will put one of my personal TGR boards, probably the TGR Police, the Poly Alice, up for giveaway on stream early February. Only if they sell out by the end of January. So yeah, that's the deal. How do you determine if an order looks dodgy? So Shopify has a built-in fraud filter that kind of flags things that they're aware of. We have a blacklist of addresses that we don't ship to anymore. We have a blacklist of names and a blacklist of credit card numbers. If those are used in conjunction with each other for any transaction, we automatically flag it and we review it. If it looks dodgy, we just cancel the order, refund it, don't ship it out. If it doesn't look dodgy, we'll keep the order and we'll ship the product out. So yeah. Could say the order was a Trojan horse. It's not a problem. I should have got the message out quicker. It's fine, Trojan. It was fun more than anything. Zanobi, hey man, good to see you. Protozoa have some neat GMK sets that are mostly sold out. Looking forward to grabbing some. Yeah, so it's going to take us a little bit of time to get through the Protozoa stuff. I don't want to list anything on our website that doesn't pass my QC levels, you know, just because I'm fussy like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to get everything here. We're going to assess it over the next couple of weeks, and then we'll slowly drip feed stock in, and you'll see it come in stock as part of the announcements as we do stock drops. The other thing we'll do is we'll create like a Protozoa link on the website. So on one of the drop downs, maybe at the top, there'll be a link, and you'll be able to click on that, and it'll show all of the products that we have from Protozoa, so you can pick them up nice and easy. Does that include the 2000 minis? Was tempted. I'm not sure what's in there. I've got a spreadsheet from Ecto. I have not been through it. I don't know what's in there. We'll figure that out. Are you going to stock the extras for Protozoa stock, e.g. Cam Bouquet via PT? As far as I'm aware, that's the understanding. That's why we've got all Protozoa stock coming here. We're going to handle that and do the retail selling of that. Anything that's left over from the group buys, I assume that we will sell as well. We haven't quite got that far in discussing it. There's when companies are doing like business like this, there's a lot of things to go through. There's a lot of checkboxes to tick. There's a lot of things like GDPR, you know, all sorts of legal considerations, and a ton of other things that we have to go through just to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and that takes time. My understanding is that yes, we'll just sell the extras for any group buy that we handle for Protozoa. Yeah, that's my understanding. One day we'll have a stream that doesn't mention ISO. Maybe. Replace with if someone buys out with if the community buys out. Yeah, I'm not expecting one person to do it, but you know, yeah, we'll see. Pokemon Kid, hey man, thanks for being here. Can't say blacklist, it's a deny list. Okay, Bazuko, I apologize. Yeah, okay, it's a deny list. It's yeah, it's whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Yeah. Can't spell prototypist without ISO. That's true. What about if in March someone wants to buy a base with UK ISO? Well, we'll have sold out, so we won't have any. Like, the thing is, like, we have more UK ISO kits in stock for Evil Dolch than we do all of the other base kits added together. Like, you know, so even if we sell all of the products, we'll still be left with a ton of UK ISO keys moons, and I appreciate that people might want them, but there is absolutely no way we will ever sell them all. It's going to be the same for GMK Hippo. I will have, when I retire in, you know, from keyboards or whatever it is, when I'm 70 odd years old and I'm ready to settle down, as long as I haven't binned them by then, I will still have GMK Hippo and GMK Evil Dolch ISO kits lying around, and that's basically dead money. That's money I've invested into those kits. We've then subsidized them and allowed people to buy them at a cheaper price than they cost to produce, in the hopes that it would, you know, encourage more base kit sales or whatever. That absolutely did not work for Evil Dolch. The jury's still out on GMK Hippo, so we will see. But you know, it's not something that's sustainable to keep buying out those kits to then never sell them. So yeah. Did I hear that Zoom 65 will be shipped tomorrow? Any idea how long the shipping time is to UK as I'm away for a couple of weeks? So they'll ship this week. Tomorrow we're going to be on the Crush 65 and in-stock orders, and then I think Tuesday, Wednesday we're going to be tackling the Deathmats for GMK Rubber Hose. We're going to be tackling the Loki 65, and we're going to be tackling all of the Zoom products. The Zoom products we kind of leave to last because there's so many of them. There's the Zoom 65, the 75, the V3, there's limited editions. There's a load of complexity just in those. And we kind of need the space to lay everything out so we know what everything is. So when we get a shipment and we get, you know, 5 or 6 tons of weight of keyboards in, we tend to leave those until the end because we have so much stuff to go through and we need the space to do it. But they'll all be shipped out within the next week. I can't see us getting to, Friday coming and the Zoom 65s not have been sent out. Like, I'm pretty confident by Friday they'll be shipped. So, yeah. How did so many other vendors get Crush 65 a long time ago? I don't know. I think the air shipped them. So we didn't charge for air shipping, so our price was a lot cheaper than other vendors. And they arrived at the back end of November at our warehouse in China. That shipment then set sail in mid-December, a couple of weeks later, and it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get here to the UK. That's just logistics. Like, shipping stuff across the sea takes time. I can't make a ship go faster. I can't make it sail faster. I can't stop it going to ports because we're just one container in, a few hundred containers. Like, we're like 1%, not even 1% of the equation on the ship. So yeah, like, usually, quite often, it's been the same ship that Oblotsky's been on with us, and the ship will set sail from China, and it'll go to all the ports, and it'll go to Germany first because it comes up the Suez Canal, or it goes round the bottom of Africa, and then into the Mediterranean, all the way across to Turkey, and then it does the loop around there, and then it comes to the UK. But it's like a week and a half, 2 weeks later. Then we have customs to wait for, so once the ship gets to port, the container is taken off the ship, it's put into port, everything's taken out of the container, it goes into a bonded warehouse, we then have to pay import duties, and they have to bill us correctly for that. That takes a few days. We then have to make sure the payment clears. That takes a day or so. Then they have to sign off and produce that. Then it has to go on a van onto a lorry. That lorry then has to come to us and deliver. And at the same time, we had a thick of snow here, so it was delayed for 3 days because of that. And it was also delayed getting to port because there was a storm at port, so there was 3 days delay there. Like, it's just one of those things. So, like, there can be a million delays in shipping stuff, and logistics are hard. They're not easy. Almost everything we tend to get first because we kind of do stuff that way. Yeah, it's one of those things. But the Crush 65s will be, they're all here. They'll be shipped out. We've had them less than a week, and they'll all be shipped out by tomorrow. So yeah, is there no shipping by train from China? Since Brexit, no, because whilst we shouldn't, if we ship from China by train, we get charged customs twice. We get charged once on entry into the EU, and then a second time from the EU into the UK. And the only time we did that since Brexit, it ended up costing me an extra 20 grand. And I don't want to pay that, so we just exclusively ship by sea or air now. And air depends on the project, because we don't, like, it's probably 8 or 9 times more expensive to ship by air than by sea. And if something's going to cost us 10 grand to ship it by sea, do I really want to pay 80 grand to ship that by air when we haven't made that profit for it? So yeah, it's just one of those things. Right, okay, so we talked about a million things. I think that's everything caught up. If there's any other questions I've missed, let me know, and I'll try and catch up with the questions in chat. But it is time for a poll, because we are going to build a keyboard today, and you guys get to decide which keyboard we build. I'll have a drink of my now cold coffee, because I've been talking for 50 minutes. So, I'll show you the keyboards, and then we'll put up a poll, and then you guys can pick which keyboard you want to build. So there are 2 choices today. There's either the Optica, which is in group buy right now, or there's a Snake R2, which is coming to group buy soon. Now, for switches, we are going to use orange switches from Bold Keyboards. I've been very pleasantly surprised by these. Hint, they're in stock now if you want to buy some, and selling fast. We have very few left. So those are the switches we're going to be using today. We're going to be using the new around 2.2. I've had a load of people tell me that 2.2 Stabies don't exist, but there you go. There it is printed on them. 2.2 Stabies do exist. We have them. They're in stock on the website right now, and that's what we're going to be using today. And then let me show you the 2 boards we have for you to pick from. Yeah, we'll do a poll in a minute.
Incredible.
Yeah, there'll be a poll up soon. I'll show you the boards, and then we'll get the poll up. So, I don't want to be showing the website. Let me turn that off. There we go. So this is the Snake R2. Comes in this nice snakeskin printed. This is not snakeskin, it's just printed to look like it. Case. We have got pretty much every plate conceivable. We've got aluminium, we've got FR4, we've got POM, we've got PC, and we've got PP, I think. And we have a nice hot swap PCB with the snake design on it, which is pretty smart. And then here is the keyboard itself. So I do know that I have an R1 weight in this board, so the weights will be slightly different, but this is a Snake R2. So here you go. Snake R2, there's the cutout now is designed to look like a snake. The internal weight here is the black part, daughterboard in the side. Now you will notice that this is a drop-in case, so you have really thick blockers for the PCB. Well, for the wing keyless blockers, because this is a friction gummy O-ring mount case style. And here's the rear of the board. I have no idea what switches Alex used for his build. I don't base it on that. I base it on whatever I want to use for the boards. So there you go. That's option 1. The Snake R2. Looks like Bezos is incoming, so we're going to have ads in a minute. I apologise. I wish we didn't have to run ads on the stream, but we do. I can't turn them off. And the other board is the Optica. So this is the packaging. And I apologise for the fingerprints because I did show this board on stream last week. So here is the board. Also wing keyless, green interior, and then that shiny PVD fingerprint covered base with that really cool side profile. This hip that becomes the chamfer around the top. The green showing through. So yeah. The Optica is just, it's a work of art, is this board. So, poll is up. You guys choose which you would like to build. No, the Optica doesn't come with a carrying case. It comes in a box instead, like a lot of older boards used to. So it comes nicely packed like so. So, you guys get your poll in. I did promise that I would vote for Snake for title. Eakens. I like that. And let's see which you guys want to see me build. The back is just gorgeous. Yeah, on the Snake, yeah, it's nice. Oh, the Optica? The Optica's really nice too, yeah. They're both really good looking boards. Carrying cases just to take up space in the cupboard. Hey, if you're using the board, yeah. God, it's really warm in here now. I've turned the heating off because it's like -1 outside. So I put the heating on when I came in here. I'm absolutely roasting. I'm bright pink, I bet. I've turned the heating off now and it's still too hot. Hopefully it'll cool down. The thing is, it'll go too cold in my office in about 10 minutes. Voted for Snake for GVP. I mean, whatever we, I can't take off the hoodie. I can't take off the hoodie because I might get sacked off of Twitch if I do that. So yeah, anyway, we've got the add-on. Bezos is here for people who are watching, but anyway, we can build either of the two boards. Whichever one we don't build today, we'll be building next week on stream. So yeah, got a bit pink. Yeah, what's under the hoodie? Nothing is under the hoodie. It's just a hoodie, that's all. Because it's so cold outside, I thought, oh, I'll be fine wearing a jumper for stream. But yeah, like the heating is just heated up in here. I can't see the thermometer because the rest of the room's dark, but I do have a thermometer in here. Don't read the subtitles a few seconds ago. Wait, what? Why? Here's my sub for only Jay. $600 a month, dude. Gets you the highest tier. Who hates GVB and is dumping votes on the Optica? Well, we'll be building the Snake R2 next week. So if we build the Optica today, we'll be building the Snake next week and vice versa. So yeah. Go grab a PT t-shirt. I'm loving mine. Do you know what? We don't have any in my size here because I'm a pretty chunky boy and I take an XL. And yeah, we don't have any that fit me here. It was 10 degrees indoors last week. So in the workshop, it was probably about 5 degrees all last week, but in Mel's office it gets up to about 18, 19. But then because my office is above Mel's, like the heat rises through, and if I have the heating on here as well, it gets quite warm in my office. So yeah. PT OnlyFans? No one wants that. No one wants that. You would pay me to not do that rather than pay me to do it, I think. You'll pay for the feet package, so you're the one. That makes you the one super hands that's into the feet. Great. Well, we'll see how the vote goes. Whilst you guys are voting, actually, I did get some other stuff for in stock, which is pretty cool. I'm not allowed to list these in stock yet, but we did get the Raids or Reeds, however you want to pronounce it. These are the Hall Effect switches from Texie and Keyboard Treehouse. So we did get these in, and we also got the navies, which are the EC switch as well. So these are really interesting, both products. Look at all the points spending. So these are actually all-in-one EC switches, rather than having all the separate electrocapacitive components. Everything is kind of like housed within a single switch. So you can see it's got the spring there. Hold on, let me show you under the top camera. So you can kind of see it's got the spring underneath, and it's kind of all one Topra dome in housing. And you can see the dome's popping out, but yeah, all in one kind of EC switch. And then the Hall effects are kind of a similar sort of idea. So these will be in stock soon. I don't have a date yet, but won't be too far away. I have placed a request for the Swag Keys V3 Nights, yeah. And these are the Hall Effect switches, which are red. Okay, so we're building the Snake R2. Again, you've got the dome underneath, but there you go. You can see the Hall Effect mechanism underneath. So kind of like an all-in-one switch. So we've got the full production run of these. These are going to be in stock pretty soon. I don't have a date yet, but I'm excited to try these out. I'm going to put these in a Hall Effect board in the next week or two, and the Navy's EC switches we'll have a look at as well. Are the EC switches compatible with Real Force boards or just EC customs? Pass, don't know, ask me when they go in stock. Is there 2 U's of the Navies? No, they're just individual switches, but they're designed to work with kind of like MX stabilizers. So there you go, there's a tech spec. So yeah, they're pretty cool. Right, okay, so we are building the snake today, so let's keep the snake out and put the other one away. Some people dumped a lot of points on it in support of our man GBB. He's not going to watch. He never watches the streams. Did Neodoid drop half of the stuff on snake? Nice. Okay, so we do have another thing that you need to vote on now, guys, as well. So you need to vote now for which plate you want. So hopefully one of the mods is still watching, because we've got 5 different plates that we can use for this build. You can either have polypropylene, carbon fiber, polycarbonate, FR4, or aluminium. Those are all the choices. So we'll get a poll up in a second for that. Dinner time poll? PPCF, PCFR4, or ALU. What do you want to see build as well? And while you guys are voting for that one, I'll show you a bit more on the PCB. So this is the PCB. As you can see, it's got this lovely gold solder mask on there with the snake design. Wing keyless blockers, which is super cool. The fact that this is effectively a tray mount, O-ring mount board, but it has full size blockers. It's pretty cool. Yeah, Optica lost the poll, right? When I was looking at it, I'm pretty sure Optica lost the poll, right? Yeah, Optica will be built next week. So there we go. This is the hot swap version of the PCB. So this will be nice and quick to build. No soldering needed today. Oranges on CF would be nuts. Yeah, probably. Okay. And then I'm just going to get out the O-rings. So we've got 40, 45, and 35 O-rings. So we're building with one of those. And then we also have the screws for mounting everything together. And then, of course, we have the keyboard itself, which we'll take out as well. So this is a real chunk of a board. It's got some super cool curves to it. All nicely rounded. And that snake design in there as well. Super, super cool. Optica 490, Snake 561. Nice. So we're building with PP today. Okay. You guys want to see the PP? That is the polypropylene plate here. Super flexible. Okay. So first things first, let's get our stabilizers lubricated. Now, for this build, we are going to be going with ANSI. So we're going to have full backspace, ANSI, full left shift, and we'll split right shift. And of course, 7 U bars. So we need 3 2U stabilizers and 1 7U stabilizer for the build. So let's get our stabilizers ready. Snake PP. We need to see someone side by side it with the parallel version. Yeah, I don't have one of those, so yeah. Will they work with the O-ring? Oh, actually, yeah, that's a good point. These stabs are screwing. So they will work. Actually, we'll split the backspace because that's the only place we'll have an issue with it, yeah. So we will split the backspace. Do split backspace, and then we won't have an issue with the O-ring. Fun fact, PP is carrier bag material. Nice. So we need a stabilizer for NC enter, stabilizer for left shift, and the 7U for the bottom row. So we only need 3 stabilizers here. Nice and easy. Yeah, PP stands for polypropylene. And so we're using the version 2.2 here of the Stabies. So there you go, you can read the details there. These are in stock right now. This is the clear PC with POM, version 2.2. And they literally went in stock just on Friday. So for housings, we need 2 for 6 inserts, and then 2 for 6 actual housings, and the rest can go back in the back. Building with the orange switches that you can see just here at the background, yes. It's the only switches I have that are ready for a build at the moment, so that's why we're using them. Thank you, Jelly, for doing my job for me. Put those back in the box, as it were. Nice and simple. Did I ever rebuild your Synovia? No, not yet. No, it's still behind me, built. I mean, it sounds great as a Synovia. It sounds really good. Okay, let's get these stabilizers lubricated up. Some lube. Need to find a brush. Why can I not find a brush? Okay, I'm gonna have to use a new brush because I cannot find my normal brush. Orange is in Synovia sound test one day in the future, please. I don't think I have enough left in stock to be able to do that, actually. The oranges have been selling out really fast. This will probably be the only build I get to do with them. Although I suppose I could take the switches out of this and reuse them in something else. Caffeinate. My coffee is now cold and I have run out of it, so pretty much. So I'm going to put it to one side. But thank you for the reminder. Okay, let's start to tackle these. plate we're building with. We're building with the PP plate. That's what people voted for. So the polypropylene. Thought the key to good coffee was it tastes good both hot and cold. Yeah, like if you brew it cold, it does. Dude, when you do as much streaming as I do, and you build as many keyboards as I do, both on and off stream, you need lube. You need a lot of it. So, yeah, I have... we tend to buy it by the kilo. And then I just keep refilling this tub as I need to. I'm just going to put a relatively thin layer on the stabies here. This is the first time I've been working with the 2.2, so I'm just going to see how these go. We can always retune these later on because this is a hot swap board. I should really have got some of the previous round of stabies to compare. Why does that not want to go in? There we go. It's just me being silly. Did someone mention carbon fiber? There we go. Okay. I'm just going to lightly lube the rails now. Again, we're not trying to gum these up. We just want a really, really thin coat here just to make sure everything moves nicely. There we go. Okay, next up. What desk mat is this? This is one of the Abyss desk mats, one of the round 2 ones. It's part of the stock that we took from Protozoa as part of the work we're doing together. And it was just so nice, I couldn't put it in stock, I had to keep it. So these will be, the rest of these desk mats will be in stock probably next week, I think. So watch out for announcements on that if you're interested, because they're pretty cool. Okay, again, just going to lube the slider rails, the super light coat. Quite glad I didn't just me that's occasionally struggles snapping a stab wire in. Felt like a right knobhead earlier as a teeny rage moment. Yeah. Doesn't matter how many boards you build, there'll always be something that takes you by surprise when you're using new products. I think my favourite stabs at the minute, the Type Plus ones. We're working on a restock at the minute, as well as we're going to try and get some of the V3 Night stabs in stock as well. I just requested an order of those today. What plate are you using? Wait, what? What plate am I using, Jake? We're going to use the PP one, the polypropylene. Are you having a laugh at my expense there? TX housings are way too tight. I always worry about breaking them and putting them in the wire. I'm not a fan of TX stabs. We stocked the first round and then we didn't stock any rounds subsequent to that because I just wasn't overly happy with them personally. So we never stock them again, basically. But we do stock stabies. Okay, that should be those nicely lubed up. We'll try these out, and then we can always apply more lubricant later on if we need to. Just wondering about any of customers for nerve decimates get a brownish dried blood stain on them back from the factory. I tried scribbling out this morning. No. Nope. We got nothing like that. I mean, we don't. It's not possible for us to unravel every mat and check it. If you've had anything like that, send us some images because that doesn't sound right, Ray. That doesn't sound right. But yeah, send us a picture. It could be something like cleaning fluid and stuff like that. Don't know, but definitely send us a picture because that doesn't sound right. I wish we could check every single desk mat, but like the margins are so slim on desk mats that we can't. We check like a subset of them, and then as long as the subset's good, we kind of move on with the rest. Okay, we're going to install the stabilizers now. He nearly spat at you. He said pee-pee. So you are having a laugh at my expense. I see how it is. Well, no more pee-pee for you guys. Okay. I'm going to clip these into the PCB and grab a screwdriver. Then we can put this into the board. The best plate option? Well, that'd be, in my personal opinion, that'd be carbon fiber because I love carbon fiber plates. But we're building this for the community, so you guys get to pick what you see. And you guys picked the polypropylene. Oh wait, these aren't. I'm trying to screw that in the screwdriver, and I wondered why it wasn't going in. And it's because it's a hex screw. I forgot that these used hex screws. Slightly too small. There we go. What's your opinion on polycarb versus the nylon stabs? Personally, I prefer the polycarbonate ones, but like you'd be hard pushed to tell a difference when you're using them. I don't know anyone who could, by feel or sound alone, tell the difference between the two once they're installed in a board. If you can, then you have far better fingertips than I do for touch. This screw does not want to go in. There we go. Let's do the shift key now. Still yet to use a carbon fiber plate. I would absolutely recommend it. It is by far my favorite plate material. It has been since 2017 when we first used it in one of my products. It's kind of crazy how long carbon fiber plates have been going now in the hobby. I was expecting the SB stabs and I noticed lube leaked out a tiny bit between the stabs and the PCB. Should I leave it or clean and re-lube? As if it's not affecting anything, it'll be fine. If your stabs sound a little bit rattly because the lube's leaked out, you could always add a little bit more. I don't think it's detrimental to anything to clean it up unless you just don't like it being there. But it will start to harbour bits of dirt over time with the lubricant. Like as dust falls into it, it'll start to pick up some of that. So it's up to you, basically. Depends on how often you keep up with your keyboard chores. Where did I put that stabs? There they are. Okay. I'm just going to put the stabilizer in for ANSI enter, and then we can attach the plate and PCB together. And then we go from there. Did anyone catch which plate he's using? The polypropylene plate. You guys. You guys. It's like streaming for 5-year-olds. Show us your O-ring. Well, we will need to talk about O-rings once we finish putting the rest of the board together, because there are 3 choices for the build. Okay, stabilizers installed, looking super neat and tidy. But combined we're at least over 15, maybe. The jury's out on that one, I think. Okay, let's grab a small tray here for these. So what we're going to do now is connect the plate and PCB together, which requires and necessitates the use of a small number of standoffs and screws. So how we're going to do this is we're going to get the screws that are going to go on the base. So there's 2 types of screw in here. You'll see that there are screws with a thick top and then screws with a countersunk top. Well, you might not be able to see that, but there are. The countersunk screws go into the plate, then into the standoff. Then the standoff is joined to the PCB with the round head screws. So we're going to use the round head screws first, and these are Phillips, so I do need that screwdriver back. And what we're going to do is we're then going to attach the plate and PCB together using the standoffs, which are these tiny little brass nuggets here. And we're going to attach them through all of the connection points. So I'm going to start to put these in. And how I'm going to do this is I'm basically just going to do them hand tight. So I'm going to twist on a threaded insert whilst holding the screwdriver steady. And you can now see that we've got a brass part installed nice and neatly here. We're just going to go through all of the different mount points and put those in. So effectively it's a case of get the screw onto the screwdriver head. Yes, I said the word head. Push that through the mount point. Take one of the standoffs and then screw that down onto the screw whilst holding the screwdriver steady so that the screw can't twist. And these don't need to be super tight. Finger tight is good enough for these. And we're just going to repeat that across the board. So you can always look at the plate as well to see where the screw parts go. We've got one here, 2 along the bottom, 2 up this side, and then 2 in the top row as well. Now, you can do these by hand as well if needs to. So you can just hold the screw with one hand, oops, and then thread on the insert from the other side with your other hand. And then always just hold the insert and screw with the screwdriver on the back if that's easier. Both methods will work just fine. You do need to be a little bit deft with these, so take your time. Top row now. Polypropylene isn't listed as a plate option on any of the group buys. Is it normally listed as something else? No, it's usually labeled as polypropylene. I'm not sure if that's going to be in the group. I've not got all of the commercial details yet for Snake R2. What I have got is just a prototype and an agreement that we will run the board at the moment. So if there are questions that you have, stack them up and I'll make sure that we get those answered before the group buy goes live. But if polypropylene is not available, we can always do a rebuild of the board with a plate that is available. So 2 edges, 2 top. Just need to do the 2 on the side now. Do I play any games? I do not have time to play games most of the time. I did just start another playthrough of Final Fantasy VII though, because that's probably my favourite video game of all time. And then I'm going to play Final Fantasy VII Remake after that. I have played it before, the remake, but I haven't completed it yet. So now that the second part is out, I know it's been out for a while, but now that both part 1 and part 2 are out, I'm going to play that end to end as well. Do you stock CF plates for the Neo 80s, Jay? We might have 1 or 2 lying around. You can always drop us a line if you want to. ASCII F keyboard kit doesn't have polypropylene in there. Not all group buys offer all plate materials, so some group buys won't offer some. There we go. Standoffs all installed. Come on, camera, focus. There we go. You can see the standoffs all installed now. So what we're going to do next is we're going to pop the polypropylene plate on top. We're going to take our countersunk screws and we're just going to screw these gently down into the relevant slots to hold the plate and PCB together. Now we're not going to try and go too tight here and damage the plate or the threads or the screws. We're just going to go nice and gentle, finger tight, and then a quarter turn more. And if any of them feel loose afterwards, you can just put a screwdriver on both sides and tighten them up a little bit as well, which I'll show you how to do in a minute. You like the PCB? You like the board even better, Netsi? Here's the board. This is the board. Snake. Check this out. Why is CF your go-to material? I really like the sound profile that carbon fiber has on keyboards. I think it just suits my ear really, really well. And I like the feel of it as well. I'm pretty old school. I'm not a massive fan of flexible typing feels. I prefer old school, you know, firmer typing feels. But there's nothing wrong with liking either or. So you have to remember that I'm pretty old as far as the hobby goes. The average age in the hobby is you know, pretty young compared to me. And I learned to type in an era when beam springs were in schools and things like that, so. How old are we right now? 5. Say the board material again. The board is made of aluminium. Matt, you aren't far behind me, so... So now we're just going to put 2 screwdrivers, 1 in either side, and just twist them slightly in alternating directions just to tighten up both sides. This prevents one side from spinning while the other one doesn't. And then this way, we're just going to make sure that everything is not overly tight, but just as tight as it needs to be. That's one. Okay, so everything is now tightly screwed together. And it's looking good. We'll be in a home together arguing the proper way to loop stabilizers soon enough. No, that will not be happening. Can't argue with what's right. I remember the days when bottoming out meant you should get stronger springs and any flex was a sign of poor design choices. Yeah, 5mm thick aluminium plates, right? Okay, time to put some stabilizers in. So the polypropylene is... Oh, yes, Mr. Gibb, well done. Well done. Yes. I have seen some people with experimenting with... just looking for a plate for me. With 5mm thick polypropylene plates. So yeah, I don't know if they're going to become commonplace or popular, but we'll see. So I'm just going to use a plate fork to get this bottom row all done. I hate the trend towards meme plates. Yeah, I'm not a fan of overly flexible plates and PCBs, but that's just a me thing. I completely get that some people prefer them, but you know, we all like different things for different reasons, and everyone's choices are valid. If you like it, great. If you don't, fantastic. You're all entitled to your own opinions on what's good and what's not. Five millimeter polypropylene. Yeah, I've seen a couple of prototype boards with it now. I haven't actually seen a build with it in, but I've seen or heard a build with it in, but I have seen it being done. Yeah. Okay, gonna go with stepped caps look because stepped caps is best. Hitting the one of the joins in the plate and PCB with the plate fork, so we had to push a switch in with not as much support as I'd have liked. I think the issue is that social media has trained people to think that flex is good and not having flex is a bad thing. Yeah, I think people are surprised when they try a non-flexible board typing experience and that they actually prefer it, and then they think there's something wrong with them for liking, and you know, that product. And it's like, oh, I shouldn't like this, but I do. I mean, flex isn't inherently bad. You know, the hobby was chasing maximum flex for a long time in terms of plate feel, and that was just something not for me. I didn't like the overly rigid of experience of things like 5mm brass plates, but they were very unforgiving. But a little bit of movement is nice. Too much movement is not nice for me, and everyone's mileage will be a little bit different. So TLDR is just use what you like. Try as much out as you can. They are so orange. Shock right now given the name. Yeah, orange switches are orange. Yeah. Who'd have thunk it, man? Who'd have thunk it? Get the bottom row done as well while we're here. No mistakes today in where to put the switches because there's only one place for most of them to go. Neo Ergo at Netscene in pre-order right now. That might be what you need to go to look at. Let's see if we can get the plate fork in here. Just give me enough support there. Flex cut 40%, which I really enjoy. Sounds and feels great, but I reckon it'd be too much on a larger board. Yeah, I mean, there's been really flexible boards over the years that I've tried, and some have been nice, don't get me wrong, and others I've just not gelled with. So I think I've taken the learning that I prefer a much firmer typing feel. I also tend to prefer noise on the clackier side, which you tend to get from the firmer plates. So yeah, it'd be boring if we all like the same stuff, let's put it that way. Ordered some as soon as I saw them. They'll be going in the Optica. Nice. Yeah, they're super cool switches. I'm a big fan of orange and keyboards. I think orange is a vastly underrated colorway. I'm an old man when it comes to boards for sure. I do like them firm, but I also think plate material choice really depends on the board, plate design, and switches you put in it. I've had flexi carbon fiber plates and firm polypropylene plates. It's a trifecta. Yeah, there's no hard or fast rule, and you can put a ton of flex cuts in carbon fiber and make it flexible to type on. That's been done, you know, dozens of times, but you know, overall, I think you would tend to find that carbon fiber tends to have a firmer feel and a more clacky sound, and polypropylene has a softer feel and a more thocky sound. But your mileage may vary. Okay, just a couple more switches to go. Because we are using the hot swap split, we have to turn these switches around. So these are now north facing, these two, and the rest is south facing. Just one of those things. Put the ANSI enter key in. Nice. And there we go. So bright the camera doesn't even want to pick them up. Looks all good. It looks pretty fun from that angle as well. Okay, so next job now is another poll. We need to decide whether we want which durometer of O-ring we want here. We've got from softest to firmest. We've got 35, 40, and 45. They come in a lovely shade of purple. So maybe one of the kind mods could put up a poll to say which firmness ratio we want here for this build. 45, 40, or 35. Hopefully one of the mods is available to put that up. Let's catch you with chat because I think I've missed a few things. TLDR, UCF because then that will be what you like. Sure, yeah, let's go with that. I love vibrant color switches. First ones I fell in love with Kiwis. Nice. To be fair, there's flex and then there's flex. Yeah, that's true. What board are you most excited so far for in 2025? There's a ton of boards I'm excited for. I'm really excited that we're going to be working with novel keys on a board coming soon. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about it yet, but it's going to happen. So, yeah. Who came up with that poll name? How soft are you? Wow, what a poll name. That feels like a Blackbrook. I don't know who created that poll, but it feels like a Blackbrook. Event Horizon or nothing. Yeah, so that's an interesting one because technically we weren't a vendor for Event Horizon. We're just going to be a fulfillment team for it. But it does mean that I get to try one, which is the nice part. J00. There is no J00. There's J01 and the J03.
Incredible.
This year. Okay, it looks like everyone is going for the 45 durometer. So he's using a wee plate. Do you remember years ago that you might not have been in the hobby long enough for this, but Elaine over at Singer, she actually used to do springs. There were Singer springs, and her Reddit username at the time was Cat Wee Wee. So the springs were called Cat Wee Wee Springs. Literally, that was their name, Cat Wee Wee Springs. So yeah, Cat Wee Wee Springs. Yeah. Are you going to stream trying out the Event Horizon? So I don't know if there's any extras. As far as I know, all of the boards are spoken for. As far as I'm aware, I don't believe there's any extras. So I probably won't get to try build one unless a customer asks to build one. So yeah, okay, we need to do a redo on the poll because 35 and 45. So the softest and the hardest. So some of you are really soft, some of you are really hard right now, and we need to redo that poll to determine whether you're soft or you're hard. Because the middle of the road, guys, you're out. So Mr. Mod, can we do a redo on that one? Just with the two main options. Quick sneaker pee joking, yeah. Redo the how hard are you? Yeah. No one else getting lag? It shouldn't be. The stream looks really stable. The bitrate's solid. Shouldn't be any lag. Soft guys should take a blue pill. Woo! Well, I mean, these are purple, so kind of close, right? Looks like the hards have it. Green and gold combo and the ergo is going hard. Holy moly. Good call. The fight is over. You run out of channel points. Ah, man. You think my scene scale changed? What's a scene scale? I don't know what that is.
Incredible.
I don't know what that means. I am not down with the kids. Okay, so Team Hard won. Team Hard won. Oh, like interesting. Interesting. Why would the scale have changed? Everything's set up to stream in 4K, but then I think Twitch put us down to 1080p. I can't modulate that, so it should be okay. Anyway, you guys have chosen the hardest of O-rings, the hardest of rings. So here it is. Let's show you installing this on the board. So effectively, all we're going to do here is we're going to fit this between the PCB and plate, going all the way around the board. Now, the interesting part is when we get to the wing keyless section, so we'll have a look at that in a moment. But effectively, we just stretch it into position, and that sits between the plate and the PCB all the way around. And then when we get to these blockers, those are going to go like that, and then it's going to sink into the case. So this case is just a one-part case. It's just a tray mount effectively case, and we're going to push the board in there, and the O-ring is then going to sit on these little tabs here that you can see where my fingers are. There's one in the center as well. The O-ring is going to sit on those little tabs and lift up the bottom of the PCB from the case. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to connect our JST cable. Try and get this in a way where I can manipulate it correctly. There we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to push everything together, make sure it's all looking neat and tidy. Now what we also have here, which is worthwhile calling out, is there are cutouts on the plate that you can see where my finger is. That's so that you can have a screw-in stabilizer and still use an O-ring. I'm just going to push that down now. Seat that nice and firmly in place. And there we go. It's not really tray mount. Well, it kind of is like a tray mount. It's an O-ring into the tray. So I say tray mount. It's an O-ring friction fit. Is it is a gasket mount board, but effectively what you're doing is a tray mount means you have pins in the base of the case that the PCB attaches to. While technically on this one, the pins in the base of the case are resting on the rubber gasket that we just installed, and then the plate and PCB are also resting on that rubber gasket. So when you type, you're pressing into the rubber gasket rather than into the case. So that's the difference. Switch is already sounding lovely. We haven't typed on them yet, but first things first, let's make sure everything's working. Let's grab switch hitter and a USB cable. We get the beep. These are stock, yeah. Similar to the Freebird O-ring mount. It's basically how most of the OG boards mount. So yeah, like the OG O-ring boards mount in this kind of way. Everything's working there. Backspace is backspace and delete, which is fine. Everything's working there. Caps lock and the home row. All looking good. Shift row. Again, all looking good. That should be an FN, but both coming out of shift. We're turning on sticky keys. We can fix that later on. Oh, we turned sticky keys on. Why did we do that? Jay, what are you doing? I did not want to turn sticky keys on. Come on, where are sticky keys? Off. Turned off. Right, okay. Why did I do that? I don't know. Ah! Annoying. Anyway, everything's working, so it's all looking good. We can turn switch here off. No JST pinching now? No, the JST cable won't pinch in this design. Okay, so that means we're now ready for you guys to pick some keycaps for the board. So, I bet Jay has many sticky keys. Well, looking at that, maybe. We Pong now? Yeah. Sorry about that. I apologize. I apologize. Right, okay, let's have a vote for some keycaps. Now, I did get keycaps out to fit 2 different boards here, so bear in mind that not all of these will work very well on this particular board, and you can see it's kind of like this lovely champagne style color. So some were designed and chosen for the Optica in case that one, so bear that in mind. But we have GMK Mercury, we have GMK Shinseki, we have GMK Carbon R3, we have GMK Hanok, and finally we have GMK Tribal. So if a mod can kindly create a vote for that. Mars Cadet would match the theme. Yeah, I do have a set of Mars Cadet. It's on under the board. It's on the Neo 75 CU at the moment. Zooted, I have that on a Neo 80, I think. Yeah. So I do have Zooted on the Neo 80 board. Yeah, hopefully there'll be a poll in a second, and we can pick the keycaps. But yeah, Zooted is good. Don't know if Jelly's doing it. Can you give us the options again? Yeah. GMK Tribal. GMK Hanok. Oh, the poll's up. There you go. GMK Carbon, GMK Shinseki, or GMK Mercury. There you go. So you guys can get your votes in.
Incredible.
And then we can pick a keycap set for the board. Can you give us a close-up of the case color again? Yeah, it's kind of like a champagne color. Yeah, I picked keycap sets that would work for both boards today, so, or well, would work for one or the other board. So there's some that won't, like Shinseki will probably not get no votes because the green probably wouldn't work very well on this, and the Optica has a green base, so I brought that over for that particular one. Hideous set. Blue Alert would look good. Yeah, I have Blue Alert from the original run on an Ace of Spades from Pokemon Kid. JOG is beige. Yeah, JOG would look good, but that is on another board right now. That's on the PT-175, which I actually have set up on my TV setup over there. MV Expo vehicle, that color. I have MV Expo on another board here. So the reason MV Expo is not available is because it's on the JO1 prototype. And it's looking pretty swish there, even if I do say so. This is a JO1 final edition prototype, which is not fastened together at the moment, so I'm holding it in a weird angle because it's not fastened together. So yeah. Oh, it's got dirt on it as well. So yeah. Bear in mind it's not together properly, but that will be nipped together when we have magnets in there. This one has no magnets in right now. And this is the other JO1 prototype that we have with that lovely patina mid-piece. So there you go. I didn't know there was a meetup today, but congratulations are going on. Are you using a shotgun mic by any chance? No, I'm using a Rode NT, which is here above the screen. That patina's fine. Yeah, it came out really well. Looks like Carbon's going to win this. Tribal's coming not too far behind. We'll see how it goes. Looks so good in person too. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Cool silver Kaiju R2. Yeah, we sold out of the base of that Kaiju R2. I don't have any of those. Okay, definitely looks like Carbon's going to win here. I personally thought Hanok would go well because it's kind of got the brown hints to it, but you guys did not agree with that, so that's fine. And I thought Tribal would have gone with both boards because it's full of colour. It's such a good set as Tribal. It's super underrated as well. Tribal is super underrated. Right, okay, let's zoom the camera in a little bit, and then you guys can see as we put the keycaps on the board properly. These switches are so orange they wash the camera out. That's crazy. Carbon win. Okay, let's go for the accent novelty enter. And of course we need the 7U spacebar. We don't need the ISO key. Ooh, that is getting stuck. What's causing that to get stuck? Interesting. So, the stabilizer for the spacebar is getting stuck on the O-ring. Interesting. Okay, we'll come back to the spacebar. We'll fix it once we've got the rest of the keys on. Use the novelty for the corner there. Shift in. Yeah, we'll have a look at the spacebar in a minute, but it's getting stuck, like it's pressing into the O-ring, and that's causing some issues for the return, but we can fix it, I'm sure. Lots of keys to sort through here. Stabius 2.2, now with more stickage. No, it's just the way that the O-ring comes through. So you can see here that the O-ring pops through into those little cadets I mentioned. But when the keycap's pressed on, it's pushing the stabilizer into the O-ring, and it's kind of like adding grip to the side of it. So it's just slowing down the return. I'm sure we'll be able to fix it in Remedy in a second. We'll have a look at it. We'll have a look at it. I'm not too worried about it. There are a million ways we'll be able to fix it, I'm sure. Oh man. So many keys in this set. We need to decide what we're going to put on the split backspace as well. Does plate support plate mounted stabs at all? It does not support plate mounted stabs, no. should use a carbon novelty just for carbon key. Yeah, the other stabilizers are working fine, so I think it's either a me issue or it's just the way the build is. We'll figure it out in a moment. And if it's the build, it's a prototype, so we can always feed that back. Do you know what? I am going to use the pause and break key there, and then we'll put the when you delete key in the top corner when we find it. We need an FN key for here. Don't need backspace. I'm just going to try and find the modifier keys here. Oh, we do have the alt graph key. We might change that out just because I like it. We do a bit of a mix up of ANSI and ISO. There's a shift key. That's what I was looking for. The stepped caps. And we just need a tab key now. Let's see if we can find that. Hopefully I've not already put that back in the tub. There we go. Okay, now we can just worry about the rest of the keys. So many keys in this set. It's such a full set. You can see crimes, I see. The board that I have here does not support ISO. I don't know if the actual group by board will support ISO. I'm not sure on that. I need to check. But this particular board that I have does not support ISO. The PCB and the plate are both fixed ANSI. So we are limited on this particular build to ANSI only. I almost put a second JO1 in red. I'm getting bored on my purple one. Well, we'll have the JO1 final edition soon enough for you to have a go at. So don't worry too much. We will be doing what we can to create more opportunities for you to pick up another JO1. Starting to worry that I don't have all the keys here. I need alt graph. Need the row 1 delete key now for the top. Let's see if we can find that quickly. I may have already put it back in the tub though. Yeah, it looks like I have. Let's just put a novelty there for now. It'll do. Right. If I just missed loads of that letters and put them back in the tub. Oops. I do like the Q at key from the Nordic kit, so we use that. Is there a BAE keycap option? There's no matching BAE made by GMK at the moment for carbon, no. The closest is... This is the closest, which isn't quite the same beige. It's a little bit off. but that's the closest as far as I'm aware. You can always put the Dolce one on, that might work. I don't own a Dolce one, but you could if you wanted to try the Dolce one. Right, I'm missing an R key. Have I already put that back in the tub? I must have, no, it's there. And now I'm missing a D. I must have already put the D back in the tub, which is slightly frustrating. And the O. Oh no, we've got the O there. 4 is there, and we just need the 0 key. Again, I must, oh, there we go. So I must have just put the D back in the tub. Oh, no, it's there. It's right in front of me. I'm just blind. There we go. Okay, let's have a look at this spacebar and see if we can fix it. Check that 6 in the number. Oh yeah, it's the wrong 6. If I have the other 6 out, I will grab it. It is the one from the Nordic UK kit. It'll do. It serves its purpose. I don't think I can see the other 6. Oh, just by sheer chance, there it is. Yes, you are right. I did get the one from the Nordic UK kit rather than the correct one. There we go. Let's now take a look at the spacebar and see if we can figure out what's going on. I don't think it's a stabilizer lubrication issue, but I do think it could be to do with the O-ring. So, everything looks good there. That's moving nice and freely. There is play in it, so that's good. Let's try putting the spacebar on back to front and see if that alleviates the issue. No, so it does get stuck whether we put it on both ways. Interesting. Now, is this a spacebar issue or is this a PCB plate issue? Well, let's see if that's flat. That is flat, that's not bent. Let's try another 7U spacebar and see how that works. Yes, I know this is purple, it doesn't match the board, but let's see if this works. No, that also gets stuck, so it's not a spacebar issue. It's either a stabilizer or a gasket issue. Come off. What I am going to do is just pop out the switch and make sure it's not a switch issue. Push the O-ring in if I can. Yeah, the O-ring's pushed in. It's in its correct position as the O-ring, so let's just make sure it's not a switch issue. Let's just check out everything we can. It's not a switch issue. So if you look here, you can see the O-ring is in its correct position. It's just raised through. So it's in the gap in the plate right where it should sit. That's exactly where the O-ring should sit. Now, can we extract the build without damaging anything? I'm not sure there is a way to push through, like on the on the single boards you can push through them from the weight. So let's see if we can extract the plate and PCB this way. Yes. There we go. Let's try it outside of the case and see if it still has an issue. Okay, so it's a stabilizer issue because we're still experiencing the issue even without the O-ring in the way here. If we move the complete O-ring out of the way, we still have the issue, so it is a stabilizer issue. So let's take the stabilizer and see if we can't alleviate the issue. So the beauty here is if we remove the switch, the stabilizer can be removed on this board.
Incredible.
Straight away. Thank you so much for the follow, Devno. I appreciate that. So because we can actually get into the stabilizer, we can just slide the whole thing out. So let's take a look at that. Reseating. GVB. I feel like you're telling me I've never built a keyboard before. I built thousands of them. We'll figure it out. Do not worry, we will figure it out. Okay. I'm just going to push it fully back in on each side. Make sure it's inserted correctly. Not going to tighten the screw fully until we get both sides in, fully inserted. If this doesn't work, we'll remove it completely and then put another stabilizer in. Okay, let's give that a try. See if that's fixed. Feels fine. Oh no, I didn't take it as rude. Okay. We now have working spacebar. So there we go. Looks way straighter. Yeah. I think what had happened is that where the screw was on this side, it wasn't fully inserted in the screw into the housing, and it was slightly out, which meant the bottom part had been able to move on this side, and it had just retracted enough with the movement there that it had then not been quite as level as it should be. But we've spotted it, fixed it, and that's what part of building keyboards all about. Now let's reassemble. And then we can give this thing a sound test and see how it comes out. Reconnect the JST cable, being nice and careful with it. And then we can pop the O-ring back into its correct position. And then we can insert that carefully around the blockers. That's not quite right, Jay. That's better. Push that down. And there we go. There we go. So everything is now nice and neatly aligned into the case. The spacebar feels like it's still not seated correctly. There we go. Now it is. There we go. So there we go. That's stabies. Stabies are very picky. No, it's just the way I'd not screwed it in properly. I think when I put the screw in, I'd put the screw in and I'd left like a thread of not tightened it up fully, and it just moved slightly. So yeah, that is nice. It's a great combination on this board. Carbon is underrated as a key set. I'm kind of sad that we sold out of it, but we had a ton of it as well. But then we did the sale for New Year, and 33% off, whatever it was just too good to pass up for a lot of people. So yeah, late January is when the group buy is going to start for this. Should we see what it sounds like? Seems tempting with iron. Yeah. Let's pause the music. Where's the music gone? There it is. This is polypropylene plate, stock Gateron oranges with GMK carbon.
Incredible.
So yeah, there is a little bit of ping. There's a little bit of ping on some of the larger keys. It's not necessarily just the stabilized keys. There is a little bit of ping. I suspect that just comes just from the nature of how the board's built. But yeah, there is a tiny bit of ping coming through the case. I feel like it would benefit from a very thin layer of foam on the inside, or tape mod on the PCB would hide that. It's not just the stabilized keys. I don't know if it's picking it up on the microphone. Let me hold it a little bit closer, but it is picking it up on the alphas as well for me. Does it have a weight? Yeah. It's not really a weight as such, but yeah, it's the internal. You can hear it? Yeah, that was on the 1U key. So just a bit of ping. I feel like just a little bit of tape mod would fix that. I don't have any suitable tape here, but I'll absolutely try it and put that on there. Yeah, there's like a little bit of ping. Just it's on the keys just around here and the same over here. It's not too much on the central keys. It starts to come back as you come down. Like the top keys here, it's fine. But as you come down further down the board and come up the sides, there's like a U shape of resonance here. Interesting. If you pull the whole build up a tiny bit, would that reduce the ping? Probably not, but it'll start to show the sides of the keycaps off. I'm going to struggle to lift the build now. Let's try the space back because that's most sturdily attached. Okay. Okay, right, so we've lifted it up a little bit. No, the ping's still there. Force break mod 2. So the issue with this is there's nothing to force break. It's a one-piece case, so there's no case to force break, and you're already resting on the gasket. The plate and the PCB aren't actually touching the case. It's just touching the O-ring, which is touching the case. So there is nothing to force break on this. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Pillow fill also helps. Yeah, I think realistically the fix for this will be to remove that ping, or to be just either tape mod the base of the PCB, or to put a little bit of foam in there. It doesn't come with any foam that I have in the prototype. It just came with all of the plates, and I think that was it. I don't think we got any foam. No foam here. I'm not saying it won't come with some in the group buy, but this is definitely something I'll feed back to them, that just a small piece of foam will come really, really handy for this one. So yeah, definitely try the softer O-ring. We could do. I mean, it's not going to make a massive difference when we're talking about 45 durometer to 35. It's not a huge amount, but we can definitely try that. See if it fixes it. Let me see if I can get this extracted now without too much damage. There we go. Let's try the softer O-ring. So this is the 45. Just going to put that back in its bag so I don't mislabel it. From the internal weight, I mean, nothing is transferring touch-wise to the internal weight, so I don't think it's that. I mean, the ping is the resonance. There's nothing actually touching the case other than the O-ring, so that's the only thing that's making the sound. Yeah, usually I don't have much time to do the troubleshooting side of things because I have like a hard finish at 11 PM, but we're a little bit ahead of schedule, so I don't mind playing around too much today. I wish I had more time to stream and I could do like, 5-hour streams or whatever. Weight could be loose. I don't think so, but we'll grab a screwdriver and we'll give it a quick check anyway. Nope. These are all tight so far. No play in these at the minute. No nothing there. There is screws on the back edge here, so I'll just test these. I need a different screwdriver for that. Just make sure that those are all good as well. That's for the rear weight parts. No play in these. No, they're all good and tight. So yeah, I'll just, for the sake of being thorough, check the screws on the daughter board. No, they're all nice and tight. Yeah, that's all good. Let's try the softer durometer. Yeah, it's the archetype decimates, yeah. Okay, so this is the 35 durometer. Let's see if this fixes anything. Just gonna reconnect the space bar, tuck the O-ring up where it needs to be tucked. Nicely done there and there. Let's connect the board back up. Tape mod will be what I probably default to fix this, yeah. I don't have any tape to hand here in the office. I'll have to go down into the workshop for some, so it's probably not going to be today. But we can do it for next week. Right, let's see if that's done. No, still there. Doesn't sound bad. It sounds the actual alphas sound really good, but the ping is still there. The weight sounded like Alu when he was trying the screws. I don't know how you could tell that, dude. Like, that's, if you can tell what a material is. I mean, the weight is aluminium in this, but that's like published information from round one. It didn't make any sound. But definitely ping still there. I think it needs a tape mod. I think that's going to be my go-to. Sounds pingy on the soft O-ring. Yeah, but like aluminium has a sound when I'm typing. I get that, but not from me tightening a screwdriver into a screw that's not aluminium. Like you can't pick that up. That's ridiculous. Okay. Put my screwdrivers back in the order. There we go. Right. I think it sounds worse now. It sounds more pingy. It sounds pingier on the softer. I think the firmer one was taking away some of that ping. I think it sits slightly lower on the softer one as well. So on the softer one, it is sitting slightly lower into the case here. So I suspect that might be why it's then closer. I think it just needs a little bit of foam in there. That's what it ultimately needs to try and rectify the issue, I think. But other than that, the board looks fantastic. And it feels great to type on. Yeah, and it looks, the base of this looks so good. Little case foam or a thin strip of tape mod or something like that will absolutely make this thing sing. So we'll try that for next week. We'll absolutely try that for next week. But the board itself looks fantastic. And I can't think of anything that does this kind of design other than this board. Is there anything else that's out there that's done something as outrageous as this in terms of its design? Do you guys know of anything? Because I don't. I can't think of anything that's done anything quite as outrageous as that. Just the Bion stuff? Yeah, the Bion stuff is pretty cool and different in its own way. This is the Synovia, which from the top down looks like a nice TKL with a little design on there. But then when you start to look at the kind of like the side case and the base, it starts to have its own thing. But I still don't think that even with those, it's quite as drastic as this. And then we also have the, if I still have it, where is it? There we go. And this is the Gihan by Bion as well, so it has the design there, wedge shape design on the back, and then it does have this cool weight, but it's, I'd argue that this is still on a different level. This is just a weight with a design on. This is something else entirely. In fact, the only thing I have that's close to doing something so different is a really high-end kind of product where this has been engraved. So this was an old TX keyboard. It was all this color, and all of the images you can see here, these have been etched in. So this is actually hand carved into the board. So it's all got a texture to it. So this is the Athena board. It's based on the Greek goddess of Athena. So everything you can see here is hand carved in. Like the relief details are literally carved into the board. And then of course the weight has a whole diorama on it. Yeah, 2,000. That's what 2,000 hours of engraving looks like. The Matrix boards are kind of like their own thing. But yeah, I think the Matrix ones are... This is hand etched. It's not CNC'd. This is all done by hand. 2,000 hours worth of carving. So none of this is CNC'd. This is all carved by hand. Every single bit that you see there is carved by hand. This was done... I've forgotten his name. Apsuni is the guy's name on Instagram, but I've forgotten his real name. So yeah, so all of the detail here is just something else. All hand carved, all textures, so it's all raised, and you can kind of feel that etched into the bare metal. Crazy skill, yeah. So the Aru was different. The Aru was milled. This is hand carved. And the way that I believe, I don't know this for certain, but the way I believe the Aru was done is it was injection. So when you're making blocks of aluminium, you can kind of like inject it into a mold, or you can CNC mill it. I suspect that it might have been forged in that pattern, so I don't know, but it could have been milled. But yeah, but the Aru is very different. That's very much a high production model. That's a one of one. There is no other board that exists that's like that. 2,000 hours of hand carving. Yeah, that's what it took. 2,000 hours of hand carving. $580. The Snake is not going to be $580. That was round one. Round two is going to be a lot cheaper. I think we're aiming for 320 to 330 pounds. So yeah, so it's going to be a lot cheaper.
Incredible.
Yeah. 2,000 hours of engraving on the other board. But yeah, the Bion boards are good. I'm a huge fan of Bion's product. I like Bion as well. I'm not a fan of his project management skills, but yeah, the boards he produces are something else. I'm really excited to do the lava as well. I can't wait to get one of those.
Incredible.
And this orange is something to die for. This would have also looked great with carbon. But yeah. Right, let's put these away. There we go. We hear more of the Snake spacebar. Yeah, it's a little bit pingy is the board. But it's not a stabilizer issue. It's just... Well, it's just the board. I think it just needs a thin layer of foam under it. I don't have any tape to hand that'd be good, otherwise I would do a little bit of a tape mod to it. Would you call that a priceless keyboard at that point? The Athena board? Yeah, I know how much I paid for it. I didn't commission it. I bought it off the person who did commission it. It was not cheap. Like, I would part with it, but it would not be cheap if I were to part with it. Great colour, and I don't really like orange. Orange is underrated in this hobby. Orange should be used more. Could you buy a house for the price of the Athena board? No. No. Like, realistically, like, if I was going to sell it, I'd probably want something like, I don't know, 2 or 3 grand for it, because that's realistically what someone might pay for it. If you were to have it produced, I don't know what Apsuni charges, but I think it's something like, he's in Vietnam, I think. So the value of the dollar there is a little bit different. So I would guess that he was probably charging something like $10 or $15 an hour, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the details. Maybe he charged by the job. I don't know. I really don't know. I would have honestly wouldn't have batted an eye at 7K. Yeah, I mean, like that's what I think if I was going to sell it. That's what I would want it for. But I'd want it to be going to a home that would cherish it and take care of it and actually use it, because I've never even typed on that board. I daren't type on it. So if it ever does go anywhere, I want it to go to somewhere where the owner will use it and love it and cherish it, and it will actually live a life of productivity rather than just sitting in my drawers gathering dust and rarely seeing the light of day. Like, it sees the light of day like every time I open that drawer, which is like once maybe a week. So yeah. South Korea, Benzes. Okay, yeah, I knew there was okay, makes sense. Yeah, so I imagine, you know, probably $15 an hour, something like that is probably what it'd be charging. So yeah, we'll see. Cheaper than you thought? Yeah, like I'm not going to charge like 50 grand for it. Like, you know, that's one thing. But I don't know how much the guy who commissioned it paid for it. I don't know. I just know what he sold it to me for. And I know that I'll probably get about half of that if I do well. Donate it to a museum and say the Romans and Greeks had keyboards? Maybe. Probably not, though. I'd have the gauntlet holding the key. Sure. What caps would you put on it? So I would probably just go for something simple like black on white or white on black, something that just matches with the case because it's a dark gunmetal grey case. Maybe something like stealth or something like that, perhaps, or even some OG keycaps, a set of JOG, maybe something like that. If anyone does buy it, I'll chuck a set of JOG keycaps in. But yeah, it is a properly nice thing. So yeah, that's it. Old beige. Yeah, well, that's what the JOG keycaps are designed to do. I think they're the closest to OG die subs you can buy on the market right now. GMK Gladiator would be too much for it. Like, it would just be too much. Maybe the upcoming GMK Pompeii might work, but Gladiator's got like 3 colors in it. There's a lot going on there. I get that the Roman numerals might work well for it, but it'd be too much on the same board. GMK Lux might work quite well with the whole golden theme, but Pompeii as an upcoming set might be the one that would go for it, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, Gladiator I feel would be too much for it. Yeah, Pompeii. Yeah. The interest check isn't live yet, but there's some stuff on Instagram if you search for it, I think. Yeah. It's a pretty cool set. Put Pandora on it. Egyptus. Egyptus is nice, but again, I think it's too many colours for it. Like just I'm not sure I like the green in Egyptus enough. Yeah, the green in GMK Egyptus is probably not the right colour for that board. But yeah, GMK Pompeii look good. Yeah, it's from Control, which is the kind of like new upstart that's going to start running a lot of the STR projects and things like that. Yeah. So yeah. KKB Ohm. I'm not familiar with that. Let's have a look. Can't type on that one, Jay. It's not plugged in. Oh, I do know Ohm. Yes, sorry. We looked at this on stream a while back. Again, I'm not sure the green would fit for it. Like, the idea behind it kind of fits, but it's... Yeah, maybe. You could probably convince me that without, like, the add-on keys, it might fit. With the Ohm, the Amiga symbol. Yeah, maybe. I was aware of this, I just didn't recollect it, so yeah. Yeah, the theory works with it, yeah, but maybe not the colour scheme. The Cadet Sub-Legends would work quite well with it, I think. Yeah, the Cadet Sub-Legends would work well. I'd have to be convinced on it. We haven't talked about MT new enough lately. Anything coming up soon? Yeah, there's some stuff I can't talk about. In fact, actually, I think that MT new Rascals has almost finished production, from what I heard. I'm sure... I might be wrong on that, but I'm sure I read the other day that it was almost finished. So yeah. Also has a dark and a light. What has a light? Wait. Ohm has a light? I haven't seen that. I've only seen the dark set. I don't know who sells it either. Was it an in-stock set? It said it was an in-stock set. Oh, it's not finished yet. Okay, fine. Yeah, it's not finished yet. Is Control kind of like a clan or a company? It's like a collective. I think that's how I would put it. Collective. Beige with Greek sub-legends. Easy peasy. Beige always looks good on everything, especially like older stuff. Yeah. Honestly, would put Chaos Theory on it just to be overkill. That'd be a little bit too much. Maybe a little bit too much. Skywriter? Yeah, Skywriter would work. It's a dark green, so it might work quite well. I was briefly excited because I thought you said KKB Home had Omega symbols instead of... Oh, no, the Ohm symbol is the Omega sign from Greek. Cap Midas? Yeah, we're waiting for Cap Midas to arrive. That's not too far away. Oh, is on IC is in MT Yeah, that's going to happen at some point soon, I think. I can't remember the exact date for it, but a date has been scheduled. So yeah. Cap Midas we're waiting for at the minute. That should be... I'm hoping that's going to hit the folder tomorrow or the day after, because then it'll be on our next container. If not, it'll be on the one after. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, and I think KBD fans are sending something as well at the minute. I can't remember what that is. Classic Grey or something, I think. That's on its way now. I don't know. We'll see. Lots and lots of stuff coming in stock anyway. Right, guys, it's 10:30. Unless you guys have got any last minute questions, I'm going to wrap up the stream there because I want to get home and get some sleep. And I'm actually getting quite hungry, so I could do with a little snack. How's LOV looking for MOQ? Not great, if I'm honest. If you want to support Lilies of the Valley, then now's the time to buy into it and try and get it over the threshold. So we'll see. Yeah, hopefully it'll make it there. Is it okay if I wait a few months before I open my GMK set, or should I open it to be sure? I would always recommend opening a GMK set when you buy it and receive it, because most vendors will have like a 30-day limit like we do on saying I got the wrong key, or a key was missing, or it's damaged, or whatever else, and arranging a replacement. So yeah. Right, thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate everything you do. If you want to come and speak to us on Discord, please join the Discord server. If you're a sub, you get access to the SPC, which is our secret subs only chat channel. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Instagram and on stream and wherever else you see me about, guys. So thanks very much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Have a really good night and a great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.